Good morning, Year 12. So nice to see you all again. You'll be very glad to hear Mr. Shaw is not here. He's not officially working this week. He's had a baby. So Mr. Shaw has a baby girl. We're all very thrilled for him. I'm sure you'd like to send him your congratulations too. I can't compete with that or with his small boy wandering about, so I have decided to share the sofa with my cat today. This is Muffin, everybody. Muffin sends you lots of love as well. We've got just some very practical things for you today. I know Emma Duncan's going to pop up with a health tip. Mr. Isaac's got a short amount to say around progression. We don't want to pile lots of progression stuff onto you. As long as you're just thinking this through gently and chipping away at it, you're doing fine. You don't need to have answered every question or solved every problem in these few weeks. So, but just keep it mulling away in your thoughts and listen to the tips that she gives as they come through. The one thing I just want to run through with you today is what's going to happen in place of end of year exams. We do think that it is really important that you review the work that you've done in year 12 before you move on to your year 13 work. In lots of subjects, we will be building on the skills and understanding of year 12 as we teach you year 13. And obviously in a normal year, you would have revised that really intensively, done proper end of year exams, and therefore it would exist as a fairly solid base on which we could start to build year 13. We're all very mindful that we don't want to put you under additional pressures at this point. We know some of you are really just struggling to keep work going at all. Others of you are flying and doing really well. And that's not something that you should be beating yourself up about it, and we certainly don't feel that we want you to feel any sense of kind of blame about how you're coping with this. That's something we want to just help you work through. So what we've decided to do, we had set aside a 2-week period of study leave, actually either side of the May half term, to do end of year exams. And we still want to use a 2-week period to focus you on consolidating the work that you've done so far this year and checking with how well you're coping with that. So what we've decided to do is that we'll be setting you normal work, which might be revision work, through to half term. And then in the 2 weeks after half term, there won't be any other work happening, but at the start of that 2-week period, hopefully on the Monday, you'll get sent a task from each of your 3 or maybe 4 subjects. So we're just going to call these progress check tasks. They're not end of year exams. They might look a bit like an exam, but they are progress check tasks. And we're not going to be giving you grades for this. We are going to be marking and giving at the very least whole class feedback on strengths and weaknesses. But the most important thing about this is that we're not going to try and get you to do them under timed conditions or under exam conditions. We're just going to set you some exam style kind of work. And we're going to give you 2 weeks to do it. And you can do it with all of your books and resources around you, your textbooks, your notes. You can take as long as you like over it. You can do it once, check the textbooks, go back and improve it. All right, so we're not going to try and control these conditions at all. We just want to see how you do with some exam style material under non-exam style conditions. So you can do the 3 subjects in any order you like. You can take as long over them as you like, and so on. That's absolutely fine. We are not using these to assess how good you are or are not. We are using them to try and find out how well you're coping and in which areas of the syllabus people are coping better or less. And that will mean that we can then follow this period up with some more support for you or a little bit more input on those areas that we're struggling with. Okay? So if you can't do any of it, then that's okay. You just contact Mr. Shaw and you say, I really don't think I'm in this place where I can do this. If you can do some of it, but not all of it, then that's okay. Again, probably tell Mr. Shaw that that's the case. He'll make sure your teachers are aware. If you can answer some questions, but not other questions, that's okay. Do the ones that you can, send them in. Your teachers are not going to grade you on this. This is nothing at all to do with whether you carry through into year 13 or not. All of you have a place in year 13. It is nothing to do with your UCAS predicted grade or not. We're going to base that on the whole of your Year 12's work and the early work into Year 13. So this is not for any of those purposes. You genuinely can just relax into it, do what you can, do your best at it, improve it until you're happy, and then email it to your teacher and stop worrying about it. All right. So you will get them on the Monday after half term. You'll have 2 weeks, and they need to be emailed to your teacher by the Friday of the second week. After that, the weekend, then the Monday, you'll start to get normal work come your way again. In most cases, we're going to be moving on to Year 13 material at that point and using the last 4 or 5 weeks of the academic year to set us up for Year 13. All right, so progress check tasks coming your way after half term. You can prepare towards those over the coming weeks, and then during those 2 weeks, you should get nothing else. You hopefully will get some guidance over the next week or so from your teachers on the sorts of things that you can be looking at to prepare. Any other questions? You can fire them at your teachers, but I would wait until you hear from them first. So that's it from me. That's it from Muffin, who's been purring very nicely here. And I'm going to hand you over to Miss Isaac. Okay, bye-bye.
Hi, Year 12. The progression update for this week is just continuing your research and continuing to start the first draft of your personal statements. So on the attachment to this email, I've just reminded you of some of the really useful websites and resources that are available to you. There's also some information from the University of Birmingham. We would normally go to the Open Day in June. This obviously won't happen this year, but I will send out some more information in the next couple of weeks about that and how that will happen online and how you can still virtually attend that. There's also on the attachment a rough timeline of the progression plan for the next couple of months. So do have a look at that. Those of you who are considering early entry, so if you're thinking about applying to Oxford or Cambridge, or if you're thinking about medicine, dentistry or vet science, you will be classed as an early entry student and your application will be due in on the 15th of October of Year 13. So that's obviously going to come around quite quickly. So do have a look at that timeline. For the rest of you, applications aren't due until January, although most of you will probably get your applications off by November time of Year 13. And then if you're thinking about alternatives to university, such as apprenticeship, internships, gap years, these will usually happen from January onwards. But as I've said all along, it's really important that you do your research so you know that your specific plan, what that is and how you apply for that. Now remember, we've got an excellent careers advisor who can give you advice and guidance at the moment over email. So do go back to week 3 assembly where I put the Google Doc for that out, and do fill that in so you can get some advice and guidance from him on your progression plan. That's it from me. Keep up with the research and the personal statements, and I'll see you next week.
Morning, welcome to Assembly week 3 of this term. It feels like forever, and it's coming to you from my glorious workstation. Hope you're all okay. If you're not, get in touch. Helen and I are available on email or on Facebook, or wherever it is that you would like. No, just really those 2 places. Oh, we have tiny cool burner phones, so you can also get this number and give us a call or a text should you need to. Anyway, my good mental health tip this week is about being ourselves. So there is a theory in some mental health circles that the bigger the gap between who we really are inside, our authentic expression of ourselves, and the person that we present to other people, the bigger the gap between those 2 things, the more likely we are to develop some mental health issues. Partly that's because we won't feel known and we won't feel accepted for who we really are, and that is a big part of life as a human being. We like to know that there are people who really love us for who we are. And if we think they love us only for a version of ourselves, usually that feels a bit less than ideal. And we don't really believe that actually we are loved and accepted. And that's a big thing. We need to feel like that. So my encouragement to you this week is to be yourself, be your most authentic self. Try and not let there be a big gap between who you really are inside and what comes out. On the one hand, also, it's exhausting to try and live up to some image of yourself that you've projected. That's just tiring, and we just don't need to be any extra tired these days dealing with all the emotional upheaval of what is already going on. Of course, sometimes we don't always know exactly what our authentic response to things is, and that's okay. Who we are evolves over time, and that's okay. But if we can be as true as possible to ourselves and our authentic selves, that will protect our mental health as much as we can. So I hope you guys are okay. Obviously, we are still massively missing you in person and looking forward to a time we can all get back together again and actually chat. But as I said, do get in touch if you're not okay, by email or by phone or however you would like to. And we will do what we can to make sure you're okay. Hope that's all right. Bye.